After dinner, he stirred another half-spoon of brown powder into the cup. His wife looked at what he had pushed beneath the chair. "Are you going to use that tonight?" "Tomorrow," he said. "I'm trying this first." That is how many men over 60 get trapped by cloves. The first cup does not produce the expected pattern, so the powder gets darker, the spoon gets fuller, and the next purchase becomes more concentrated. But the hidden object beneath that chair matters more than anything else he could pour into the cup. Robert is my name, and I am 83. I still button my work shirt, carry a small toolbox to the garage, and kneel carefully to check a loose cabinet hinge. I am slower than I was at 50. I am not helpless. Those are different statements, and the routines I protect are built around keeping that difference. The wrong use of cloves usually begins with a reasonable hope. A man finishes dinner, sees a glucose number he expected to be lower, and searches for something natural. He finds a video showing a spoon buried in dark powder. The next night, he mixes it into tea. The taste is harsh, so he adds honey. Then he reaches for a more concentrated preparation because stronger still feels like better. The number remains unpredictable. He notices the burning taste, not a reliable pattern, so he assumes the preparation is still too weak. His mistake is using the tongue as a measuring instrument and expecting the bloodstream to obey. The glucose pattern after dinner belongs to the complete routine. The cup enters a system already handling a meal, responding to insulin, medication, stress, and the hours that follow. A stronger preparation can add risk without identifying what the routine is missing. The object beneath the chair changes the question. It is not another ingredient, and it will not turn cloves into medicine, but it points to a neglected part of the evening that deserves more attention than the darkness of the cup. Salad on the plate, pills on the counter, and the meter is still higher than you expected. If that feels familiar, even after cutting sugar and following your doctor's plan, pay attention. It does not mean you failed. Blood sugar is not a single switch controlled by one food. It is a 24-hour system shaped by your meals, movement, sleep, stress, medication, and the way your body responds to insulin. When that system remains under pressure, the effects can appear far beyond the meter in your energy, your eyes, your kidneys, and your nerves. Stay with me, because one overlooked piece is about to make the rest of this video click. And if you want to see how daily blood sugar support can fit alongside healthy habits and your doctor's plan, I placed a free presentation in the description below. What he had pushed beneath the chair was a pair of walking shoes. The addition is a short, safe bout of movement after the meal. That may sound less exciting than another ingredient. It is also more honest. Now the warehouse image becomes useful. Contracting muscle can increase glucose uptake through pathways that are not identical to insulin signaling. The action does not make insulin resistance disappear, but it gives incoming fuel another place to go at a strategically useful time. In one randomized crossover study, adults with type 2 diabetes were advised either to walk for 10 minutes after each main meal or to accumulate the same total of 30 minutes at another time. The post-meal plan produced lower post-meal glucose exposure, with the largest difference after the evening meal. In another small study, inactive adults aged 60 or older at risk for impaired glucose tolerance completed 3 15-minute post-meal walks. The pattern improved 24-hour glucose control and was particularly effective after dinner compared with one sustained walk at another time. A different 19-person crossover trial compared prolonged sitting, structured cycling, and a pattern that spread standing and gentle activity across the day. The less sedentary pattern improved daily glucose and a calculated measure related to insulin resistance. These studies are small and short, and not every trial finds the same response. Even so, the human evidence for using active tissue is stronger than the evidence for concentrating a clove preparation. These studies do not establish a magic number of minutes for every man. 10 and 15 minutes describe study protocols, not a command. Your safe dose of movement depends on balance, heart and lung health, joints, foot sensation, medications, and current conditioning. And the response will not look identical after every meal. A large carbohydrate portion, poor sleep, Acute stress, illness, alcohol, and the timing of medication can all change the curve. That variability does not mean movement failed. It means a single reading cannot isolate one cause. Look for patterns with your care team instead of chasing the meter around the house. Here is how to stop using cloves wrong without turning the correction into another trick. First, keep the clove culinary. Cloves contain aromatic compounds and polyphenols, and the case is no longer based only on laboratory experiments. A 2006 report followed 36 people with type 2 diabetes using 0, 1, 2, or 3 grams of clove in capsules for 30 days and found favorable glucose and lipid changes in the clove groups. A 2019 open-label pilot found improved pre- and post-meal glucose with a standardized water-soluble extract in 13 healthy or pre-diabetic adults over 30 days. In 2022, a randomized, double-blinded, active comparator study followed 70 adults with metabolic syndrome for 84 days. The standardized clove polyphenol group improved fasting and post-meal glucose, HbA1c, insulin, and a calculated measure of insulin resistance. That is meaningful human support for cloves' potential, although it does not establish what whole cloves plus walking will do for one man over 60. The studies used different preparations, and 2 tested commercial extracts rather than the spice jar. Use a modest amount for flavor in an unsweetened drink or food that already fits your plan. Do not swallow spoonfuls of powder. Do not drink essential oil. A concentrated oil is not tea in a smaller bottle. High-dose ingestion can cause severe poisoning and liver or kidney injury. Human evidence makes cloves a credible dietary support, but it has not yet established one specific whole clove amount for blood sugar or insulin sensitivity in men over 60. If you use a concentrated supplement, show the exact label to your pharmacist, especially if you use insulin, sulfonylureas, anticoagulants, antiplatelet drugs, or have surgery planned. Second, make the spice a timing signal. When you smell the clove after a meal, that is the reminder to move if movement is safe for you. Not before you finish eating, not 2 hours later when the moment has passed. Soon after the meal, at a pace you can control. For one man, that means a steady walk along a level sidewalk. For another, it means slow indoor laps with a cane. For someone at risk of falling, it may mean supervised standing or seated muscle contractions prescribed by a physical therapist. The action should feel repeatable, not heroic. You should still be able to speak. Stop and seek appropriate care for chest pressure, severe shortness of breath, faintness, new weakness, or unusual pain. If you have an open foot wound, severe loss of sensation, unstable glucose, or frequent hypoglycemia, get individualized advice before beginning. Third, protect the rest of the day from long sitting. A post-dinner walk cannot erase 14 motionless hours. Breaking up sitting with brief standing and light activity may support glucose handling and insulin sensitivity. This is a separate function from the post-meal bout. One targets incoming meal glucose, the other prevents the day from becoming one long inactive block. Set the environment before willpower is needed. Clear the hallway, turn on the lights, secure loose rugs, and keep the correct walking aid within reach. If weather or darkness makes the sidewalk unsafe, use an indoor route. The best post-meal plan is not the most impressive one. It is the one that does not trade glucose support for a fall. That is the stack: culinary clove, post-meal movement, and sitting breaks. Each part has its own job. The clove contributes flavor and bioactive compounds with promising human evidence over weeks. Post-meal movement recruits muscle when fuel arrives. Sitting breaks keep muscle from disappearing from the conversation for the remaining hours. I can hear the skeptical response. If cloves have their own evidence, why add walking at all? Because the two parts work through different opportunities. The research makes clove a plausible dietary support over repeated use, while contracting muscle creates an immediate route for glucose uptake after the meal. The clove can also become a sensory anchor. Its familiar smell can start the movement habit before motivation begins arguing. Do not confuse complementary roles. Walking does not prove the clove caused a reading, and the clove does not replace active muscle. The value comes from combining two reasonable supports without concentrating either one into an extreme. Men can be especially stubborn about asking for modifications. We call a cane weakness, dismiss foot numbness, and try to outwalk chest symptoms because stopping feels like surrender. That is not independence. Independence includes choosing a version you can perform safely tomorrow. I still make the Sunday phone call to my brother, sweep the small patio, and drive to an early appointment when my vision and energy are good. I also hold the rail when I need it and change a plan when my body gives me a real warning. Adaptation has kept more freedom in my life than pride ever did. Consider a composite example named Dennis, 69, a former electrician. He adds ground cloves to a sweetened evening latte after seeing a headline about insulin sensitivity. He keeps increasing the powder, but his after-dinner readings remain unpredictable. When he looks at the full scene, he notices the sweetener, the recliner, and the fact that his most active hour happens before breakfast. With his clinician's approval, he keeps a small culinary amount of clove in an unsweetened drink, places his shoes by the sink, and begins a gentle indoor walk after dinner. On days his knee is irritated, he follows the seated alternative his therapist taught him. This is not a testimonial that his A1C fell. It is an illustration of a better designed routine. Dennis stops asking, "How much clove can I tolerate?" and starts asking, "How can I use my muscles safely when the meal arrives?" That question restores his role. He is no longer waiting for powder to rescue him while the shoes gather dust. Bring the first table back into view. The jar still has a place beside food, not above medical care. The shoes also have a place. They represent activity adapted to the man wearing them, not punishment for dinner. The answer to "add this" is not another spice, oil, or capsule. It is safe post-meal movement, followed by fewer long sitting stretches across the day. That combination can support glucose handling because it addresses the tissue doing the work. It cannot ensure control or replace medication. At 83, I'm interested in habits that return tomorrow morning. A harsh cup may feel powerful once. A measured routine can quietly protect the ability to fix a hinge, answer my own door, and keep making decisions for myself. The clove can ring the bell. Your muscles still have to answer it. Now you can see why focusing on one food, one habit, or one number may still leave part of the problem untouched. Blood sugar is influenced by a system that keeps working all day and all night. So lasting support is not about one miracle ingredient. It is about supporting the whole picture. And now you have a choice. You can leave with another interesting tip, or use what you have learned to build a more complete daily routine. Because the real goal is not to fear every meal or constantly worry about the meter. It is to feel confident in your routine, protect your independence, and keep living life on your own terms. If you want to discover the additional daily support approach I use alongside healthy habits and medical care, watch the free presentation in the description below. It reveals an overlooked gap that many routines may leave behind, and a broader strategy designed to support it. Watch it now while this connection is fresh. This supports your routine. It does not replace your doctor or medical treatment. What safe movement could follow your largest meal? An outdoor walk, indoor laps, chair work, or another approved option? Use the comments section to share your choice. For strength-minded glucose routines after 60, subscribe and stay with this channel.